Hey everybody, Pan Bam Richard here with episode 4 of the Bomberman Hero playthrough. In the last episode, we've defeated Endol, and in this episode, we'll be going to Primus Tower. But before we do that, this is a post-commentary here on my 5 rank run against Endol. So I'll be doing this for bosses that I didn't get a 5 rank on for episodes that I'll be starting thereafter. But essentially the strategy here, as you saw in the start there, I was letting the bombs go at the beginning there to damage Endol while he was in his damage animation, and just basically went reckless and tried to apply that exact same strategy while avoiding the electric bolts, because getting damaged by the electric bolts means that you would have to suffer a different damage animation compared to colliding into Endol himself. But that was pretty much it, so that's how we got all the 5s here, and which gives us our gold medal for Planet Bomber. Alright, on to the actual episode. Alright, now with that out of the way, we'll be entering Planet 2 Primus Area 1, the Woods of Esseram, starting off with Grug Hills. Now, Grugs are... Actually, before we get into that, we have a little bit of a cutscene here. Not much really to it, to be honest. Just, again, exposition. The plot to this game is pretty much not important. Thanks, Piebot, for letting us know that the princess is in another castle. Well, isn't the only castle here. But the Grog enemies, the Grug enemies, are essentially the small little critters that would tackle you down. So, we're gonna find the underground tunnel here. Yeah, essentially it's just going to be a little bit closer further down, but essentially these Grug enemies here, they will stand stationary until you get close to them, and when you get close to them, that's when they get very rowdy, that's for sure, because they would charge at you, and like a small little bull, they will try to take you down. So to sort of like defeat them, just try to drop a bomb while they're running towards you. But I kind of don't like doing that because it just takes more time. So we got that done right over here. We also have these new enemy types here, these plant enemies that will spew out this poison gas here. Essentially, you just want to hit them twice with your bomb, and that will kill them for, I believe that was 200 points. But yes, the target score for this stage, okay, so normally when you miss the initial bomb toss, they do try to charge at you, but thankfully their AI is pretty dumb, so you could get them trapped behind background objects like that. Or I guess you call it stage settings, I don't know, something that was like used in Sonic games. I can't remember the term. Anyway, the target score here is 6,000 points. It's a pretty big threshold, but this stage is technically 2 stages with 2 different layouts. So we're going to be discovering that, but before we get to the second area here, jump all the way over here, because you're going to need that fire power-up. I forgot that fire power-up in my practice, and it really took a lot of time for me to realize that fire power-up was there. I was like wondering why I was 50 points away, but we gotta make sure that we get all the points here before we get into Area 2, because once we get into Area 2 of the stage, then we won't be able to go back. So I think we're in a pretty good position so far in terms of our points here, so let's just destroy more of these flower enemies here, which I'm pretty sure they only give 200 points. Come on, open up. Open up. There we go. While there is an arrow there, we can get to the end of the stage right away, but we won't be able to get to our target score. We have to activate Area 2 of this stage in order to get to that target score. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a little bit of platforming here to see if I'm missing anything. I don't think I am, so let's just hop back over here and not touch water, because if you do touch the water, Bomberman will fly back out. So Piebot here is going to tell us about freeze flowers. Freeze flowers will basically be our means to get to the next area here. You gotta hit them both at the same time. So in order to do that, we gotta use our good old rolling bomb, which that Piebot tutorial phone will tell you if you were to pick that up. So with that, we have now gained access to Area 2, which gives us access to all of these gems that we were unable to get previously. you're probably noticing them while I was going through the stage here. And at the same time, we have met more Groogs. So, more Groogs to destroy. There are no more flowers in this second area though, due to all the snow. And this will get us close to our 6,000 point threshold here. There isn't really anything else in this stage at this point. You're just picking up the gems that were hovering over the bodies of water that we couldn't gain access to. But just beware of all the Groogs here, because it's going to be a bit of an issue in the long run here. Oh boy, yes. Let's not do the strategy that I suggested to do prior to. This is where they get a little bit annoying, but thankfully, as I'm starting to learn right now, they do not hop over ledges or fall off of ledges too, no matter how deep you can basically fall. So that's pretty good in terms of how they're programmed. Well, not really good in terms of how the enemies behave, but it gives you a bit of an idea as to how to react to them. So now that we have our 6,000 points here, we'll be able to go to the exit. Long crawl all the way here. Bomberman, please run faster. And unfortunately, there are no speed upgrades in this game, but here we go. 6,000 points, rank 5. Alright, Bubble Hole. Oh boy. Actually, this one isn't really so bad. But there is quite a bit of things that we have to do here, and they all have to relate to warping. So, first off, we are introduced to some new enemies here. We saw the slimes that we saw earlier, and there are those bubble enemies where you gotta destroy the bubble that encases them, and at the same time, you also have to destroy the enemy that pops out of the bubble. So the slime's gimmick, as you'll see here, they're the primary colors, and if the two of them mix, they'll become their secondary color, which means they are harder to kill, and they all have their own little special behavior depending on what color they become. But thankfully you get double the points because of the two slimes coming together. So I used this jump panel here to get that rainbow gem there. You can go to that area by using this warp here essentially, but because we were able to use that jump panel, we didn't actually need to use it after all. So when you go into that hole, you will go into the warp to where that rainbow gem is, but we didn't need to do that. But there are other warps further down the stage here. The bubbles do damage you, and as you notice, as I destroy one of these bubbles, they also regenerate as well. So that's a very annoying enemy. I don't know why bubbles are considered evil or in the Bomberman universe, but apparently they are for Bomberman. Maybe they're poisonous, but they look very fine and healthy to me for video game standards, at least, in terms of appearance. So now that we have that out of the way, we're going to collect all of the gems here first before we do a bit of platforming here. And by platforming, I mean cheating. There's just quite a bit of enemies and points to collect. Here, yeah, the green ones expand like that, and that's a little bit annoying, especially considering how little space you have here to move, especially considering how random the bubbles maneuver themselves as well. So, got rid of the red one here. I don't think there is a... I have never seen the three slimes combine themselves all together. I don't think they can actually do that. So, there we got rid of that green slime there, combination of, yes, I'm pretty sure you know what the combination is. We've all gone to grade school, I hope. So, we're going to get rid of those enemies here, get these gems here, and we're going to use the warp right after we kill this blue slime over here, because screw the slimes when they combine, even though that blue slime will have no opportunity to do that in the first place. Okay, so we're going to take the warp right over here. Brings us to this heart container. Yes, I am giving these items very different names. And we see our first adduct bomb here. Guess how you have to get to it. You gotta use another warp. There's only one more warp left in this. Oh, I am very close to this enemy, aren't I? So I'm gonna have to, like, do it from afar right here. See if I could properly kill that red slime from afar. Yep, thank you, point total. So, there's our fire power-up. So once again, the target score here is 7,000 points. There will be a lot of enemies near the end, or I think there might be a rainbow gem near the end where you can get to that threshold sooner, but at the same time, there are also these bubble enemies too that give 200 points each, so Yeah, this game is introducing you to some more fancy schmancy mechanics each time we go further into the stage, so you're not always stationary whenever you go through the entire game. You're always taught new things each and every time. So, we got our gems right over here. There are two slimes over there that'll combine together. I believe it's red and blue. Yeah, so Pokemon Gen 1 and whatnot, but we're gonna use the warp right over here to get our first Attack Bomb of this area, and those warps are one way, which is why I can't just like stand back to the same position like when I got there, but here we go. We're gonna get rid of the purple slime over here. These bubbles are so annoying. I can't think of another game that I played where bubbles have been such an annoying obstacle. Normally I would think of Sonic the Hedgehog, where they would essentially help you out as you go through the water. But here we're gonna get rid of this enemy here. Come on, 5 hits. I guess purple is all about that endurance. No, actually I think they all take 5 hits to kill. So that's pretty much Bubble Hill, but Bubble Hole. It's a very, very lengthy stage in terms of how you have to go around to get all the points. Fun stage though. Alright, Irar Lakes. Irar Lakes is a marine level, and it is certainly a long one for sure. There are multiple exits to this one, and for our first visit here, we'll be trying to get the target score here for rank 5, that being 6,500 points. So what I'm going to do to help myself out with this, like I mentioned previously in episode 2, we're going to try to get rid of these mines first, so that way they can add to our score. We didn't get rid of that one, unfortunately, but let's see if we could get that mine over there. Once again, enemies like the mines in Bomber Marine stages and the birds in the Bomber Jet stages, they are not considered in your target score, so that's why we're trying to kill them, so that way there's a bit more flexibility in how precise I have to be in the enemies or items I have to collect. Because once again, target scores, always keep in mind all of the regular enemies and items you have to collect in the stage. Alright, so there's quite a bit of interesting enemies here. We have ourselves these weird moss-like enemies at the bottom here crawling around. I don't think we've ever seen them before this stage. So there's always the enemy variety that you can expect throughout this game. The Moai statues are back, so gotta make sure to avoid those properly when they descend or ascend. Oh, we got that mine just fine there. You know when you get the mine added to your score when you see your points go up, obviously. But if they explode on their own, you're not getting those points. Okay, so we got rid of that manta ray over there. See if we can get rid of that annoying clam that fires bullets. Super Mario 64 be jealous, but let's continue down here. There is a point in this level where you do have to guess and check, and it's definitely a beginner's trap in terms of prolonging your gameplay, because there are 5 paths to choose from, and 3 of them are essentially duds. They just warp you back in the stage, and depending on which one you touch, will also determine how far you'll go, and that's very annoying when you're going through this game the first time, or when you're practicing. But once we get there, the paths are pretty easy, but we will be running into our mini-boss here, the larger version of the Manta Ray, keeping up with the theme of... Ooh, thought I could fit there. Keeping up with the theme of... Look at all this stuff that I have to avoid here. Those Manta Rays, those fishes, and the clam firing bullets at me. Man, swimming underwater in a Bomberman game is just way too deadly. But this Manta Ray here, as you've noticed, likes to blow you back, and you gotta be careful not to be blown too back, or else you're gonna hit that circle of stars. Pretty mean level design, but thankfully it only takes 3 hits, and it gives quite a bit of points. Plus I'm gonna try to get these mines here, free 300 extra points here, and I think we're doing pretty well in terms of our scores so far. So yes, what you see there behind those mines are the warp points. When you touch one of those circles there, it will warp you to a location, either in this exact same area of the stage or into a different area altogether. So the only 2 areas, or the only 2 warps that we really that we should really worry about are the top left and the bottom right. What I'm going to be taking here is the bottom right one to get a higher score. There's more enemies in this area than the one in the top left, at least from what I experienced. So we're going to get rid of these eel enemies too. I don't think they take these eel enemies into account for score 2, or maybe they do. Actually, now that I think about it, I feel that they do, because the mines are the ones where you wouldn't take that into account for the score. So these eel enemies are ones that you definitely have to kill. Eels, fish, I don't know. Obviously, biology is not one of my strong points, but we're gonna get rid of these enemies here. I think we should be fine in terms of our score now, because we will be running into one more of those large manta rays. And why are these guys dodging my bombs so well here? I mean, they're semi-homing, you'd think it hit, but for some reason, they're not really doing so hot. They're not really that accurate. Okay, wow. Alright, thank you for blast radius here. Okay, so let's get rid of this fish right over here, and thereafter swim forward to get this diamond. And that should be enough in terms of points. I don't have to worry about getting these mines anymore, or items anymore. I'll just swim forward now. So that's why I love getting the extra points from enemies that you don't really have to kill. It gives you... That was a very stupid idea, but it gives you more flexibility in how you can progress through the stages. So what I'm gonna do, I think there's a fireproof vest in here. I just gotta be careful not to blow up the bomb way too close to the ground. But this crate is annoying the heck out of me. The bombs are exploding way too early. Is that it? Oh, it's just a regular heart. I could have sworn there was a fireproof vest. Anyway, we have ourselves another manta ray. Thankfully, you do have a bit of a barricade behind that could stop your pushback by a bit whenever the manta ray chooses to do that. And there's our extra 1k points. Can I muscle through this? Oh, good! It's my first time actually giving that a shot. Not the best idea. Okay. I thought I'd played a reckless card there, but clearly that would not have worked. So that's the end of the stage here. We have definitely a lot more points than required for the target score. And now we'll be going back to the lakes here. So we're going to cut away to the warp point and we'll show off the rest of the stage. Alright, we're back. So this time we'll be taking the top left route here. The top left will bring us to another stage, but over here we're going to be seeing some more of these manta rays here. I don't think there's a proper boss here, but Pybot will inform you of a new item that we'll be seeing here in this game. It's called the wall through item. I'm pretty positive that this item has appeared in Bomberman games in the past, but what this item does is exactly what you hear on the tin. The wall through item will allow you to go through particular walls here, but we need to search for this item first, and by doing that, we will be able to get to the end of this section here. Because we got the target score in our first visit of this stage, we can just go through all these enemies very quickly here. And man, was it so much more satisfying to not worry about the target score. Will this clam please die? Alright, whatever. I don't care. I don't care if I took the hit there. But the wall through item should be in this crate here. And, oh, where is the wall through item? Alright, just give me a moment as I backtrack a bit. Okay, alright, so the wall through item is actually right over here. There we go. They actually hit it very peculiarly. But now that we got that, we'll be able to get to the end of this stage and gain access to another area. The next two areas are a little bit interesting because they don't have background music, which is unfortunate because I do like this soundtrack. But, oh well, they're both related to water, so first off we'll be going to the Waterways here. It's 4,000 points to get to 5 rank, so just destroy all the enemies here. And pick up all the items. It's a very basic level. There isn't really much to write home about, except for one thing that they will introduce to you right at the end. And man, will it throw you off guard. And I will not be testing that device that we'll be seeing at the end anytime soon, because I am not... Well, I am curious, but at the same time, I am definitely not going to test it out while I'm recording. That's for sure. So, what we're going to do, we're going to try to get this fish here. I think they're the same fish that we saw in the lakes in the last stage. There are 2 fish here. I think the second one is... I could have sworn there were two. No, it's just one. Alright. Well, you're probably wondering why I avoided those gems. It's because we will be going there soon by... First off, we're going to collect all these gems here, and then thereafter pick up the gem right behind here. Or I think it was a heart. I don't know. And then you can use this to warp down here to pick up the gems that are hovering above here. So, nice little thing here. What you're actually supposed to do is to use a bomb towards this gate here, the switch, in order to open it up. But we don't really need to do that. I just thought I'd show it off here. So, we got ourselves a diamond here. Again, it's a very, very straightforward stage. Ooh, except for these spikes that like to protrude on occasion. I think there's one here. Now I'm paranoid. I can't remember where these spikes were. But that's okay. There aren't any warps in these bubble holes, unlike how we saw it in the stage named Bubble Hole. So we can just easily go through these stages just fine here. Bit of a waterway trap here. Unfortunately, we maintain momentum of the water current while we're jumping, which doesn't make much sense. And let's hope that we don't get prickled here as we get through this part. Blow up these small little enemies to get some more points. A little bit annoying because I have a firepower of 4. The blast radius is a little bit of a disservice to me in this part here. Gonna get these gems right over here, and this is the only warp of the stage, but this part you gotta brace yourself for. Here we go. Pick these babies up quickly. 5, 4, 3. Go, go, go. Alright. 4,000 points. We made it. I am never going to experiment that pink bomb. So that does bring us to Area 2, but we do have time to finish off the final stage of Area 1, Water Slider. Again, no background music, it's just a water slide, but this is where our second add-up bomb is. So we're going to pick up these gems here, and just do the same thing that we always do with these stages. It's also a very straightforward stage, but it does train you to be mindful of how you progress, especially because you're fighting against the current here. You don't want to miss any items that you want to accidentally skip. And right now, for this episode, we'll be demonstrating the life extender. So we're going to be getting 200 gems here, and you'll watch my health extend by 1 empty container. I mean, I have mixed feelings about this, because like the extra health does help for bosses. By the way, the add-up bomb is on top of this roof here, so you gotta make sure you use the current to your advantage, and see, those are the negatives when it comes to blast radius, but that's the whole concept of Bomberman in general. But as I was saying about the extended health, it is useful for bosses, but the unfortunate thing about the extensions is that it doesn't carry over on your next reset. So if I were to stop and turn off the game right now, you wouldn't be able to maintain 5 points of health. But at the same time, I think they probably realize that it would be very broken if you were to keep the health that you would carry over. But at the same time, maybe you can make it like a penalty. If you die and lose a life, maybe you should lose a health bar or something like that. Maybe that might be too cruel now that I think about it. I think there's a bit of a trap here. Okay, that was just me being paranoid. So, yeah, that's pretty much my opinion when it comes to those 2 health extensions. This stage does give you flexibility when it comes to the target score. Not only for the add-up bomb, but those bubble enemies, the designers do take into account that the bubble enemies could fall down and not be accessible. So you only need to get 100 points by destroying the bubble enemy once, but if you do get them twice, that's an extra 100 points that they don't consider for the target score. So again, I appreciate design like that. It's very thoughtful for the player. So now that I'm at 4,000, I don't have to worry about these gems. And essentially, we'll be close to the end of the level here. Just gotta kill the balloon enemy, don't want to be screwed by the current here. And just wait for the lift here to go to the highest elevation, jump, and make it to the end, and we are done Area 1 of Primus Star with the 5 rank here. So that's it for Area 1. In the next episode we'll be going into Area 2, Primus Castle. Until next time, take care.